Hello.
Much better. Yes, last time it sounded like you
Mm,
were telling us your heavy metal album.
I think I selected my built-in microphone and it was picking up my coding file.
It sounded like it was picking up a dump truck driving through a nitroglycerin factory.
Well, opinions are divided.
Anyway, I just started the stream. We're at 5 o'clock. So
Right.
I mean, do you want to just immediately start or wait for people to show up like I normally do?
I don't really care. I don't really have a strong preference either way.
Okay. Well, I'm accustomed
Think
to
that's
just.
the point.
I mean, I just posted the link in the Discord server. And I saw my announcement yesterday. Got 13 thumbs up thingies. So I guess some people plan to come. So I'd like to give them a chance to arrive so they don't miss the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Um, in that case, could you tell me which build you're using right now?
I am using the one from the 25th of April. I decided to not use the ones that you had Canad upload yesterday because they had the different world sizes.
That's actually the one I wanted to start with
Oh, okay.
because I wanted to show the quote-unquote plan B in case this whole tectonic rewrite doesn't work out.
Okay. So, I mean, I have those builds. Which one do you want? Do you want the one with
Mhm.
smaller worlds or larger
Um,
worlds?
could we start with the larger one because that's the ideal scenario for this method.
Yep, that's just fine. I just need to switch the screens here. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Now with this new engine, the loading is so fast. Not a problem. It's already finished.
Your stream is still black for me. Oh, never mind, it's back.
Yeah, there's a delay.
Yeah, yeah, it's just longer than I remembered.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. Well, according to my little window here in OBS, there's only one viewer, someone named Markiplier. I see what you did there.
And that's weird. What about me?
No, it doesn't show you as being a viewer.
Oh, maybe it's because I'm not logged in.
I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I think we waited long enough. We can probably start now. All right. Hello, HB2S. Good to see you. Yeah, so anyway, this is a new test build. The last stream I think was about a month ago, a little over a month ago. And
Yeah,
I had to actually
something like that.
I had to go back and look at that build again to remember what it was like so I could remember what has changed since then.
Oh, good, because I don't remember that build at all.
Oh, well, okay, yes. It was the one where the erosion was kind of all square and the rivers could punch straight through mountains, you remember?
Oh, right, right.
Yeah, that we had a lot of discussion about that. Anyway, that's been fixed. So I'm sure that people are eager to see. But do you want me to generate a new world, or do you want me to show them that default world?
I would like to start with the default word because I want to answer that Reddit post. I don't know if you read it about squares versus tiles, about squares versus hexes.
Sure. Just gotta wait for it to load here. And could you also explain to the people sort of what this is and the world size difference and all that?
Right. So basically, mm, there was a point raised on Reddit that the current square world looks significantly worse than the original world gen in 0.2, which it does. Um, and I said under that post that if all fails, I will probably just load worlds from 0.2 in 0.3. And this is basically it. This is a world imported from 0.2 into the new engine. So if everything else fails, we'll use the old version instead of a new one. So we'll still have all those pretty mountains that the man developed all the way back.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I noticed that the mountains in the newer version were all kind of just along the coasts
Sky.
and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So if you could zoom in maybe on something just to show that
Yes.
it's roughly the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm zooming in so they can see that it's, it's hexagons that have
Oh, right.
been made into,
Squares.
tetragons. Yeah.
There is some stream delay, so I may not always reply in a timely manner.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
But yeah,
That's just how streaming is. I understand.
so you can see each hex has roughly 7 squares corresponding to it. So there is enough resolution to have every hex represented on this map.
Yeah, you can see this area right here was very clearly just a big hexagon back in the original zero point 0.2 map that this was.
Yeah, so if we don't manage to fix all the issues in a timely manner, we probably just load a world from 0.2 instead, because I don't want to spend half a year working on world generation
Again,
on top of what we've already spent on it.
yes.
So like, if we don't fix if we don't fix all the issues in like a week or two, I probably just keep this loader and we'll roll with it for now. And then after 0.3 is released, we'll return and try to fix all those issues with square world-based generation.
Yeah, that's fine. Although I wonder because with zero point 0.3 you plan to have the game be a bit higher profile, right? So um, do you want the world generation to be still kind of iffy when you have, I don't know, people making YouTube videos about it or something like that?
What do you mean by iffy? Because if we don't fix world generation, when you press generate world in 0.3, it would launch the same procedure as in 0.2 and then load it back into a square world like it did here.
Oh, oh, I see. Okay, I misunderstood you. Well, in that
Yeah.
case, yeah, it'd be fine. Gotcha. I understand now.
Yeah, I'm just saying that if we don't fix it in like the immediate future, we just use the old version because I haven't spent all the time working on world generation. Like most of my work time was actually on the engine and on the society kind of side of things. So it wouldn't be a huge time sink, and there would still be foundation to finish it later. But it doesn't really make sense to wait for months on end for me to finish tuning something that they may needed 2 years to tune. When we could just focus on making the game, which I think is what everyone is most interested in.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
you would still need to, fix the river problem that was in zero point 0.2. Right? I mean, if I look at water movement
It's
here in this
it's
world.
yeah, it's already fixed here. It's
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's already worked
Okay, well,
because
there's no water
because
movement.
so the problem no I mean the problem in 0.2 with rivers was that rivers were kind of special game objects, and they sort of had pointers to each other, if that makes sense. And those pointers were sometimes completely broken. When you followed them, the game would crash. But in 0.3, rivers are generated based on water flow alone. We can calculate water flow on this map directly, or just import it from 0.22. Because I'm not sure if you could pull it up, but if you open the game in Windows Explorer and like enter the data folder, there is a folder called default or something like that.
Yes.
Um, and, and on that folder, there is a bunch of PNGs you can edit, and it's basically what the game pulls to load this world. And one of those pictures is called hydrology or something like that.
Yes.
And so what we can do for 0.3 to fix rivers is, instead of trying to export that river graph, we would only export this map mode. And the map mode worked in 0.2, if you remember.
Yes. Yes, it did. I remember.
So yeah, we can kind of sidestep the issue by not exporting the problematic data and constructing it back in 0.3.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Then I guess the problem is solved. Well, good then. Um, Now, do you want me to keep showing new features in this build or go back to
I,
the?
I think you should change over to the previous build,
Okay.
because this one Like distances between tiles and such would be all scuffed because it wasn't scaled for this world size.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
So yeah.
Okay, well, then I will generate a new world. And I found that my old seed of 1337 it's not really good anymore. The world it makes is kind of lame. So now I use the seed Solitarian, which is, easier to remember, I guess. Or maybe it's more difficult. Anyway, we're generating a new world, and people can see how long this takes. And I have to remember to show things in the correct order that they were developed. Let me check chat here. No one has said anything other than just hello. Hello, King Jerkera. Ah, according to my plugin here, we have 6 viewers.
Oh, that escalated quickly.
But I know my plugin is always wrong. That's what I noticed. In OBS, people will be watching, but they don't appear in the list. So probably the real number is higher than that.
Right. Twitch claims it's 7.
Oh, okay then. Anyway. Um, this is taking longer than I anticipated.
Maybe it's because you're streaming.
Oh,
It
could be.
probably uses some cars.
Yes. Well, I should have generated this world before we started and saved it and just loaded the world, but I'm not very smart. I've only forgotten to do that every time I stream. I always say I should do that and I never do.
Well, we could also load the default world, I think. Because, it would be faster, but then again, we probably want to show the origin too.
Oh, yes, yes. And also, the default world is, well, yeah. Anyway, so here we are. And then we can go into Observe. And so this seed is a bit better, I think, because it has these different continents that are separated by oceans. But yeah, you can see that the mountains here definitely don't look as good as they do in 0.2's version.
Yeah.
But, so, we have many more map modes here showing new things. There's also the real life map mode, which, yeah, ugh, I don't like it.
It's more or less back where it was when we first introduced it. It looks pretty much the same way that our first version of it looked in 0.2, because it has the same issues with anisotropy that I remember having to fix all the way back.
Yeah. This is not a particularly useful map mode, I have to say. Really, yep.
As I said in the testing channel, I wanted to test the alt method, but it doesn't really work.
All right. Well, I'll just go through the new map modes. So, see, there's grayscale height map. I don't think there was that last time. Soil texture was there. Soil depth, soil minerals, plants. That's all. There's something I wanted to show. Oh, it was the rivers. It was the rivers. Yeah, it was the rivers. And I can show those. Visualize flow. That's it. Okay. So in the last build, with the problem of these rivers that were kind of straight lines that would just punch straight through mountains. And here, you see we don't have that problem. Like, for example, here are some mountains, and you can see with the visualized flow that the rivers are going around the mountains as opposed to just punching straight through them. Except, of course...
Or at least it's less common.
Well, I was saying that here you can see that there is a river going through a mountain, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah.
And also, the rivers used to look like they were straight lines, but now we have... Well, for one thing, these tabs over here we didn't have before. The geology giving you this information. The Krippen information with the rain and the snow and so on. Ecology. I like that it shows the numbers here with the grass and the shrubs. That's useful. And we have this, which is really cool. At a glance, you can see what the tile looks like. You don't even have to go into the 3D view, which we will. But you can just see, there's the height map, so you can tell the river actually isn't just a straight line here. It's drawn that way on the map, but when you look at it here, you can see it's much more complex. And if we go into the 3D view, well, there's nighttime. Okay, let's Let's advance time. Pesky sun going away when I need it to be here. There we go. Oh, there's snow. Okay. So we can see there is this river here, which actually is at this tri-point. And also it's not perfectly straight. If we follow it along, you can see it's kind of windy. Oh, there's a little river that begins right there. But you can see that it's not just a perfectly straight line. And it has thicker bits and thinner bits. And also you can see if we go down near the river, the surface, that the landscape slowly slopes downward toward the river, because of erosion. And if we go to a river that goes through a mountain range, that sloping will obviously be very, very severe. So here, for example, we have nighttime again. There we go. Okay, but we can see here that the slope is a lot steeper. And we go up and up and up and up and up and up and up this mountain. Now, I really wish the draw distance were higher so I could show the people this more, but oh well. You can also see that there are these 3D models here. Of course, these are just placeholders, but they're representative sort of how the game world is supposed to be populated, but those aren't the models that will ultimately be used. Is there anything you want to add, Calandiel?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's 3D mode like we had in Unity, except it's not Unity, I guess.
And it's much, much faster.
Oh yeah, that's too.
Yeah, the difference is just night and day. It is huge, the speed difference.
Yeah, I was complaining about Unity being fast. I mean Unity being slow. But I haven't really benchmarked it to see how faster it really is. But if you can notice it, that's probably a good sign.
Oh, it's very noticeable. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, you can see that the rivers are much more interesting, much more complex. And also, we look over here with visualized flow, you can see that this area is has a lot of water going through it. It's not just one river. Anyway, I think that's really cool. We still have the problem of rivers emptying into tiny bodies of water. I don't see that happening in this world, though. Or, okay, here, like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this this 2 tile wide little pond, this lake, is where all of this water is flowing, and that doesn't really make sense, right?
Yeah, it should probably be a bit larger.
Yeah, so the pooling of the water and the erosion are still a little bit off. Oh, and also here's a good example. So people were on the Discord server a bit concerned with everything in the world being square and also movement between tiles, whether it be diagonal movement tiles and so on. And I think here is a good representation of how that concern isn't really justified. Now, if we look at this, you might think that, oh, if I have a water unit, will I be able to move it between this water area and that water area? The answer is yes, because actually, this square map is just a representation of what the world really looks like down in the 3D view. If we go into the 3D view, we'll be able to see that you could just fly straight through that area that looks like it's blocked by land. Well, okay, actually, I can't quite tell where it is. Oh, wait, is this it? Oh, maybe not. I spoke too soon.
Oh yeah, that's kind of close. You could probably check it on the global map too if you change the height map to the column type map mode.
Base column type. Yeah, I see. Oh, so yeah, you can see the corner there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just barely. It's very, very close. Well, anyway, the point is that when units, ships, animals, whatever, are moving around the world, they're not moving from tile to tile. They're moving on this world map, and then the player is shown in what tile they are. But it's not. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, the quote unquote ground truth is the 3D world, not the global world, so to speak.
Right. And so yes, there is diagonal movement, I suppose, because the entities can move around the world however they please. independent of whether the squares are touching. Let's see.
We have
Oh
a
yeah.
comment. Still, it's not a big square border at tile's edge, and I'm not sure what that comment means. I'm not sure. I'm
Um,
not sure what you're referring to, HV2.
Let me see here. I was looking at chat. I like how the river twists and bends and pools naturally. It's not a big square board. Right, right. So he was when we had the one of the earlier iterations of the 3D view in 0.2, um,
Mm-hmm.
the tiles could look distinctly hexagonal. Like you could see the border of the tile in the 3D view when you zoomed in. There would be
Oh yeah,
this
yeah,
angle,
yeah. Maybe
and
you could
that's not a
find a
problem.
tile on the. Maybe you could find a tile on the edge of a desert or a tile on the edge of a snow zone,
Well, I think
because then you could probably. Or maybe a small island. That would work too. Because
yes,
if you
yes,
selected those, you could maybe see that tiles aren't really all that square in the 3D view.
right, right. Yes, that's. I thought this would be a very good way to show this. That this one tile island here is not square. We can see on the height map it's actually this kind of blobby looking shape here. It's a lot smaller than it looks like it is in the real world. It's just this little rock with some trees on it.
Yeah, probably too small to support a large population.
Yes, for sure. But I think that's great. And so the game can simulate landforms that are much smaller than a tile.
Yes, provided the tile is marked as a land tile.
Yep. Now let's see if I can find the border of a desert too. That might be an okay. Well, here we can go to. Oh no, I just type. I forgot. What? Oh, there it is.
You could just use the copy map mode, I think,
Yeah, I
or a
just had to
biome
type.
map mode.
Okay, so anyway, I wanted to show the border of a desert. Let's see. So we can start here and then wait for the night to pass. Always nighttime. Now, there's no compass, so I can't quite tell. I need to go west.
You start facing north always.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll just re-enter the map. And then west will be this way. Okay, so we're going to go into the desert. And actually, I think I can press control. There we go. Woo! We're super fast now. Anyways, people can see that the density of trees is much lower as we go west.
Yeah, and it should switch into a desert soon. Hopefully.
Well, I might have angled the camera improperly and I might have missed it. I mean,
I
this is
think you're I think you're moving southwest right now.
oh
Because the textures are aligned diagonally.
oh I see. Okay, so like this.
I'm not sure. I lost orientation.
Oh well, okay. I'll just keep going.
I guess you could look at the sun because you know it moves from east to west.
Oh right, yes. All right. So there's the sun. What is it going up or down though? Okay, so it rises in.
You can unpause the game to see where it's moving.
Right, I just did that. So it rises in the
Oh
east.
yes, sorry.
So that way's east, which means west is over here. I was going the wrong way. Okay, I got this. Me directions good. Anyway, I think people can see though. Oh, there we go. There it is. Finally, we found it. Yeah, a compass would be very handy. So anyway,
Yeah, I'll add it at some point soon.
very good, very good. And an increased draw distance. I'll never stop saying that, no matter how much you try to convince me otherwise.
It will come for sure because I would appreciate it too, just to you know see the world in its full beauty, but I don't really need it to work, so it's not very high priority, sadly.
Sure, sure.
Oh, and also textures are smoothed between tiles, which they weren't in Unity.
Yeah, yeah. I
If
mean,
you
you
know.
can see it's a lot smoother, right? It's not so sharp. Anyway, I think that conveys the idea pretty well. Let me check chat. Perfect place for a prison. Need a local time map mode. Oh yes, that would be nice. So we don't have only have universal time. Heyo, I arrived a bit late and heard units move according to the 3D independent of the squares. Since the squares are a bit distorted, will movement be affected? No, I can answer that. No, that the squares you see on the map are just a representation of the underlying 3D world. That's the 3D world is where things are happening, and these squares here on the global map are just here to kind of give you a representation of that.
Yeah, there may be some small exceptions. Like if I need to pathfind a unit across the entire planet or something, I may do it on the hex map, on the square map, just because it'd be much faster than pathfinding tile to tile. But on any sort of short distance, maybe in a battle or maybe between two neighboring cities, we'd be using the 3D board always directly.
Yep. And I think maybe for something like a ship going across the ocean, you could use the squares because the ocean's mostly empty anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
But all right.
exactly.
Let's see. Oh yeah, we need more biomes.
Um, yeah, I do it at some point. It's not high priority because I'm sort of focused on getting this game to a playable state, and more biomes would be nice, but I think having people walking on the planet would be even nicer.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm can't quite remember what else did you add. Did I miss anything?
Biogeographic realms, but that's a really biogeographic realms, but that's a really boring map mode because there's only one right now.
Yeah.
Um, I don't remember if there are polities in this build. Are there?
No, they're not.
Okay, so I added that since the last build then.
Well, I can't
In
see
that
them.
case, I think yeah, I'm saying in that case I added them since the upload.
Oh, I see.
Um, in that case, I think it's everything, at least everything I can think of
Okay.
that can be showcased in this build. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
let's see if we have any questions from the chat or maybe from you.
right. Yeah. I was gonna wait for the chat, of course. I didn't make a list this time. I normally do of all the things I want to show, and I just forgot. Oh well. Um, Oh, I want to know. So what? And I always ask this, but what are your future plans now? What do you plan to do? Over the next month of development.
So I developed an economic model based on the old economic model of Unity that I think fixes all the issues it had. I tested it in Python, kind of like Damon tested plants in Python when he first made them. So in this, I mean, until the end of this week, I'll be working on getting that in, so that people can migrate around and feed on the environment again. Beyond that, I think I'll be adding buttons to interact with the simulation, if that makes sense, because at least in Unity, the way it was coded was kind of problematic in making the game playable quickly. The game wasn't really aware of a concept of a player, so to speak. Whereas right now, it was coded with that in mind, so it should be much easier to proceed in that direction. So yeah, I think in the next test build, I hopefully have you playing the game, so to speak. Maybe not a very interesting game still, but at least an interactable game, so to speak.
What kind of gameplay would you want? I mean, would I just be able to pick a tribe and have it move around the map or something?
You'd create your first character, like in Crusader Kings, with the character creator, and then you'd be able to build buildings and interact with the economic model.
Oh, I didn't know you planned to have there be a character creator.
Yeah, so I think I spoke about it at some point in Discord. Like, we'd have to either make a character selector or a character creator, right? And a character's
Whoop.
of compress all the data in the world and then upload it to the client, for him to render so that you could select the right character. Whereas for the character creator, you only need to send the information about the character from client to the server. So it would be much easier to implement. And so this is what I'd like to start with.
Okay. Yeah. Or so. But would you want the player to know where in the world he is? Like in Crusader Kings, you zoom in on a part of the map, you click on a guy, and you know where you are. Or would you want it to be kind of opaque, where in the character creation screen, I just say I want to pick, I don't know, an orc in a desert, and then the game will just find an orc in a desert somewhere, and I don't know where exactly it put me.
Probably the latter. Probably the latter, because to do the former, I need to upload the world elevation data from server to client. Like when you start a game and you play in multiplayer or something, when you connect to a server, you don't really have a height map of the planet, right? And we don't want to send that because it's a ton of information. And so because of that, a character creator where you can't really predict where you spawn, kind of like in Civilization, is much easier to implement, and so it would let us get to a playable state sooner. And we can always change that later. And I think there is something to be said about advantages and benefits of not knowing where you start. Like if you knew the planet ahead of time when you start the game, exploration is kind of less interesting and so on.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, so I asked the question because I prefer the latter option. I want to just have a text screen where I pick, I want this race in this biome, uh, whatever, next to an ocean or something. And then it just puts me somewhere and I don't know where it is and I have to explore and find out for myself, like in Civilization. I think that would be much better.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking about it too, because we're gonna start this game in like Neolithic or something. Is it Neolithic? Yeah, it's Neolithic. And why have Fog of War if you already know where everything is ahead of time?
Right.
Like just from a game design perspective, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was always a problem for me. It was always a problem for me in Europa Universalis, because after you play that game 20 times, you sort of know the best routes for your ships and colonies. Which province to first colonize and so on. And this is something I think we should avoid in South.
Yes, I agree. I'm totally in agreement with you. Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, very good. And of course, I have to ask because I know someone will want to know. Someone will ask later. When do you think, perhaps, maybe, possibly, you would be able to have 0.3 done?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I was talking to Damon recently, and a month ago, I think I said 2 months or something like that.
Yeah, I think
I don't,
in my last stream
I
you
don't remember.
said,
You have to remind me.
well, I think we agreed on the end of April was a tentative kind of maybe date, and I think clearly that's not going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. So I will need at least a month to get something together. Um, it's hard to say, because it will have to be balanced in some way, in some way, and I'm not really sure how long that will take. I think the best course of action for now is for me to focus on making the game playable, and I don't mean in the sense of making new game systems like people eating berries or something. I mean, focusing on making interactable battles and game systems, as opposed to simulations per se. And I think we could maybe do another stream in like a week or two and return to that question then after we see how quickly I get that done. If that makes sense.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. And then, I've thought about it. Probably this idea of importing worlds from zero point 0.2 is going to be the better option because it already
Yeah,
creates interesting terrain.
it's probably what we'll go with. Just because I could probably spend, like half a year or a year on tuning all the parameters in the model and slowly improve it over time. But I don't think it's a good time investment. Like we've tried, it produced some results. We could probably use them. We could probably use them in a video game that wasn't sold, but because we have set the bar so high for ourselves with the previous releases that I think it's better to just get 0.2, just get 0.2 into 0.3, and just use the rewards from there. Sorry, it's just stuttering so much, but I read some comments on the Twitch chat. Yeah.
Okay. HB2S asks how much time you want to spend polishing things that are problematic in the test builds.
Right now, probably not much. I think I want to get the game playable first. Which is why we will probably use words from 0.2 in 0.3.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think one of the reasons why the test builds exist at all is for players to find these problems and identify them. And
Yeah.
the reason I do these streams is, well, I mean, there are many reasons, but one of them is to get more eyeballs on the game so that more people can notice more things that even I might miss.
Yeah, exactly. I was speaking of, could you maybe load the default planet in this build?
Yes, I can do that. Let's do that. It'll take a second, of course. All right, and observe. Oh, wait. This isn't a default planet.
Isn't it?
No.
It's a different planet. Oh yeah, it's the old default planet because it's using it's importing a planet from 0.3 in 0.3. Okay, never mind then. We'd have to open another build for this to show. To
Okay.
showcase.
All right then.
Yeah.
Well, in that case,
should I read the comments from Twitch? Should I read the comments from Twitch chat, or do you want to do it?
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, okay. I've been reading them this whole time. I only mentioned the questions, of course, because they're the ones that we can talk about. HB2S says, how long do you think that would take to do? I'm not sure what he's referring to there.
I assume he's referring to. I assume he's referring to what's it called? The polishing of the game and the game balance.
Oh, I see.
And I honestly don't really know. I mean, it depends on what you mean by rough edges. Like, do you want us to replace all the graphics with HD models? That's probably never going to happen, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is always more polishing that can be done, right? I mean, even some AAA game with a budget of $1 billion will still have more polishing that could possibly be done when it's released.
The way I approach it is more or less by posting test builds and then seeing what people complain about.
Yes.
And then trying to fix them in order of how difficult they are to fix.
Yep, that's a pretty good system of triage, I think.
Yeah, which is why we have tooltips and text fixed, but we don't have the long distance terrain rendering yet. Yet.
And HB2S also asks why the glacier was cut by the trench, and that's just because this is it's the default world. It's an imported world, and so it has some kind of wonky terrain.
Wait, what? Oh, here. That's weird. I'm not sure what's happening here. I don't think this should... Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening here. Because is generating glaciers primarily based on temperature? But the temperature surely doesn't change between these styles, does it? Huh,
Looks like it's about
interesting.
the same.
Yeah, I'd have to debug it to figure it out. I'm not sure why it's happening.
Maybe it's because of the height map.
Maybe there's a bug and it adapts temperature to elevation even for water tiles. Because there is a thingy for mountains wherein the higher you go, the lower the elevation. So if it's glitched, I presume the lower you go, the higher to a situation where increases temperature so much that a glacier melts, which shouldn't happen, but maybe that's an explanation.
Well, I notice in all the builds that you've made in the new engine, there are patches like this where there's a non-glacier area inside of a glacier.
Right. Yeah, that's presumably because it's higher temperature.
It
You
just
have to
looks
look into it.
Yeah, it just looks weird on the map is the thing.
I think we want to fix it. I'm not 100% sure, but we presumably do.
Okay. Well, I don't know what else there is to say.
Yeah, if nobody has questions, I think that's it for now.
All right. Well then, as always, thanks to everybody for coming. Thanks to Glandiel for making the game, and I guess we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yes. All right. Well, bye bye.
Goodbye.